We're live on YouTube. Yay!
Uh-oh.
Hey!
Yay!
Well, let's see.
Oh, we gotta tell people to head over there now, right?
Yeah.
To the Charleston Jazz page.
On YouTube.
Jazz YouTube.
Okay, so how do I do that? I'll let you tag me.
To the Charleston.
All right. Oh, y'all go ahead and do that. Hey, everybody that's just now joining in, we're going to give Miss Kiana and Mr. Charlton a second to let folks know that we had some technical difficulties on Facebook, but we're now on YouTube. So hopefully we can share our YouTube on our Facebook channel in just a second.
Charlton, tag me and then I'll repost.
I'm looking on how to find it on YouTube.
Oh.
Just go to Charleston on YouTube.
Let me see here. Charleston Jazz.
The whole world's watching Kiana on her
You see
TV.
how she so quick? You see how good she is like that?
It's my backdrop. I can't spell.
Oh, there it is.
You see it up there?
Yeah, yes. But I don't know how to
copy the link on YouTube.
Got it. Right now.
Charleston Jazz Orchestra.
Yes, we're on Facebook / via YouTube.
Wait a minute, what am I doing wrong? Okay.
I don't know if you can access it like that. I don't know, maybe.
Oh. Something just happened over here.
I just start. It's all good.
Hey.
Okay, we're good.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for bearing with us while we were trying to figure out some technical difficulties. My name's David Carter. I'm the Director of Education and Outreach for Charleston Jazz.
David.
Hi, Charlton.
Hey.
Hi, Kiana. Two people that I adore and I know much of our Charleston community also adores. So thank you for being with us tonight for the post-show Q&A. So thanks for doing that. So what's been going on? Talk to us. Like, what's been going on lately? How are things?
Just sort of, well, for me, just sort of hanging around the house and doing a lot of housework and stuff and playing around on social media and making sure everybody's safe and healthy and checking up on people. We'll get into that. We'll get into that a little later.
I hear that. Thanks, everybody, for joining in. And how about you, Miss Kiana? What you been up to?
Lots of sleep.
Yeah. And
I'm a full-time mom, so my job never
stops.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hear that.
I learned, I'm embracing this time off to just rest and regroup and write some music. And hey.
Take this time to step back and kind of reflect and get ready.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hope everybody hears that. We're time to, we're taking this time to get ready.
Yep.
It's going to be a resurgence in a good way.
Oh yeah.
Hey, let's go ahead and dive in. Talk to me about your thoughts about the show. How what were your thoughts after the show? What were your experiences with the show? Just behind the scenes. Talk to me about it. The show we just saw, the Earth, Wind and Fire show.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of memories, of course, for me, with such a great band, and it was always a special time from year one all the way through year 10 to play with all of those musicians on that stage, because on top of them being extraordinary musicians, they're friends of mine. And before we had even gotten to the stage, we were all friends like that. And so that just makes it even more special when you're able to create all this fun and have a good time and be on the bandstand with your sis and your brothers, in the music like that. And then Earth, Wind and Fire is just Earth, Wind and Fire. I mean, we had been talking about doing that show a number of years before we actually got, to that point. So it was full of memories just watching it as it was broadcast a little while ago.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Keanu? How are your experiences with the show?
Well, my experiences with the jazz orchestra is always amazing because that's my dream to like put out a big band orchestra album. So it's always fun for me, especially when you're doing music that you really like, classic, timeless pieces. That's a whole lot of fun for me. And being able to perform with Charlton on stage. We spend a lot of time on stage together. So from Ranky Tanky to doing Earth, Wind and Fire, like I think we flew in that day, right, Charlton? Did we?
It was something like that. Yeah. It was a quick turnaround for us.
Yeah.
But at that particular time, when we had been out on the road quite a bit with Ranky Tanky, and there were many times where I would just call up Robert Lewis and just say, Robert, you got it, bro. And Robert would just take over like with ease and make everything happen and make me look good. So big Robert for that, and the band for just laying it down for us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It seems like the experiences, every time I see you both perform either with the CJO or you were leading the organization, the ensemble, it's been a fun time. So just watching that video, we had a good time reliving some memories.
Definitely.
So I get some questions coming in. This is the first question. It's kind of a funny question. Charlton, did you ever consider having the band dress up like Earth, Wind and Fire for the show?
That would have been amazing. No, I didn't consider dressing the whole band. However, someone did ask me if I personally was going to dress up like Philip Bailey. And I said no. And then it kind of spiraled into Philip Bailey with Verdine's wig.
All right.
I don't know if my parents would have been prepared to see that.
I don't think they were. I don't think they would be.
And the photo that was used for that particular show, they all had on like the tight leather or stuff like that. I love them to death, but I just can't see Phil King rocking that, man.
Nice look. Nice look. Make sure you tag him in this. Make sure you tag Phil. Kiana, this one's for you. This is from Ben, who lives in Greenville.
Hi, Ben.
Hi, Ben. Who's your favorite jazz singer? And there's a two-part question, but I'll answer that one first. Who's your favorite jazz singer?
My favorite jazz singer is Sarah Vaughan.
Mm-hmm. Seemed pretty quick. That was easy.
That was so easy.
Is there a reason why?
Can I? Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead, Charles. Wait, you know why?
I was gonna ask something before we get to the other part of that. Do you have a favorite jazz singer of today, or someone or some people that you listen to today that is actively, out there that you're like, yeah,
Yeah, definitely Renee Marie and Jasmine Horn.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Renee and Jasmine, huh?
Mm-hmm.
It's a good mixture right there.
Well, I wonder if this answers the next question that Ben has. Is there a dream artist you'd love to perform with that's present or past, or why?
Me or Charlton?
You, Keanu.
Oh, well, Whitney's gone. Sarah's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of intimidated by Renee and Jasmine. Then you have Carmen Bradford. I definitely don't want Carmen to just run all over me. But I was,
that was a good list.
Which
Mr.
one,
Singleton?
I personally would love to hear my sister Kiana singing with Jameson Ross.
Oh yes, Jesus, yes.
And or Gregory Porter.
Oh, listen.
I think that would just be, I'll be on the front row like.
Me too.
Yeah.
I have an out-of-body experience.
Yeah. I think the two of them, and even though they have different, timbres of their voice, but both of them are just so amazing. And I think with Sis jumping up in there with that combination, any combination of her with one of them, kill it, knock it out of the park. Definitely. That's
I would totally fan out first. I would. I would fan out. Like I fanned out when I met Jasmina. I fanned out at the Grammy party. I've fanned right on out. And she's like, I voted for you. I was like, you know me?
That's right.
See, that's good. That's a good thing.
Jameson too. He was like, I've been you know me? I knew you know Quentin and CeeLo. Yeah, and Gregory.
Yeah.
Because Clay and Gregory used to play together for a long time. Like, I would love. Thank you, Charlton. Let's put that on out there in the universe.
Ooh, put it out there in the universe. In the universe.
Yeah.
What about you, Mr. Singleton? Who would be your favorite jazz trumpet players or just jazz musicians?
Trumpet players. It all starts with Harry Sweets Edison. Forever. Harry Sweets Edison never played a wrong note, and no one is going to convince me that something like that even exists. No, no, not even when he was practicing. It just all laid right down. Harry Sweets Edison. And then of course other trumpet players, of course, like Dizzy Gillespie and Miles Davis. Trumpet players of today. There's folks like A.T.N. Charles. There is Nicholas Payton, Marquise Hill. I'm a big fan of our own Matt White, who teaches at Coast Carolina and plays in the CJO. Matt is just incredible with he's just got amazing ideas, and they're just endless. So I love listening to Matt. So that's kind of my little trumpet world right there.
What about Clifford Brown?
Oh yeah, Clifford Brown is a no-brainer. Clifford Brown, I was just listening to ATN on his Instagram. One of his posts, he just blazed through this Clifford Brown solo note for note. It's like at Mach 6 speed. And ATN is just so gifted and talented and fluid, and he just made it seem like he was just normally breathing. It was just incredible. Yeah, Clifford is definitely one of the big five, I call it, that I initially started studying, which is Lewis, Miles, Dizzy, Clifford, and Wynton. Those are kind of my big five when I was starting off in learning how to play jazz.
That's great. Interesting. This is from Denise in Charleston.
Okay.
I feel like we know who this person is. Maybe not. There's lots of Denises in Charleston. Was it fun? Was it fun to play and write the arrangements of the Earth, Wind, and Fire songs with the big band?
It's always fun to play, just point blank. It's always fun to play. And it's both challenging and fun to write an arrangement. It takes a lot of once you get the song and the form, the challenge is to be creative with it. And when the show was being premiered a little while ago, one of the things that I wrote in the comments as people were live, making comments live, was that we're very fortunate in the Charleston area and in the Low Country and in South Carolina in general, to have people in the band or in the jazz community that are extremely gifted with their arranging skills as well as their ability to play. So when it was time for me to put together the songs for a show, and sometimes I would go online and I would look for arrangements that had been already published and things like that, But then I would also have a list of tunes, and I would send an email out to a large number of friends in the jazz community. And I would just say, these are the songs that I would love for us to do. Who's up for doing this particular, one of these songs? And I would have probably a list of about 10 songs. And the only thing was, I would say, make sure that you reply all, because it's first come, first serve. And usually I'd get an answer from however many songs that were there available. I would get an answer within about an hour or two, because we're just very fortunate. There was, in the saxophone section alone, we had 4 of the 5 saxophonists that were arranging. We had people in the rhythm section. I mean, gosh, Quentin arranged stuff back in the day, Kevin Hamilton. Then we had Frank Duvall on bass, Brett Bellinger, bassist in town. Gerald Gregory did a Coltrane tune one time. Then, of course, you had Mark and John Phillips and Jack Pettit and Robert Lewis. Chuck Dalton brought in an arrangement one time. And then you had folks that were not necessarily full-time in the orchestra, like Simon Harding, who lives in another state right now, Dave Gillard, just loaded. Jason Bellac, just loaded with talent. And it was so easy for me to just say, this is what I'm looking for. And everybody would come through with something that was so unique and so tailored toward the strengths and weaknesses of the band. So, when I said, I need an arrangement of reasons for Keanu to sing, I need an arrangement of just my imagination for Keanu to sing. And Brett Bellinger was like, I got it, no problem, or this person. So for Denise, getting back to that, it's really fun and nice and just cool to have that right at your fingertips with all of those people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's we could talk about a lot of cool topics. There's so much to learn from both of you. I'm going to jump back to Kiana for a second. I want to learn some more about Kiana, the mystery. Kiana, what you do this for a living? Like, obviously both of you do this for a living, but as a primary vocalist, like, what are some tips or suggestions, or is there something you would this is the education side coming out of me. Is there something you would tell like a younger student to be doing, to not be doing, to check out? What's your advice?
My biggest thing is sleep, rest, no screaming. And people say I yell at my kid, but I was trained classically. So the way I yell versus the way someone else yells is completely different. It's way different. I also, I see a great doctor at MUSC, and I do vocal therapy as well at MUSC to make sure that this is still, it's a muscle. You got to use it. Right. Don't abuse it. And also, I like to tell singers, be a smart singer. There's one thing to just be a singer, and I'm sorry,
you bet.
But you got to be a smart singer, like, don't just sing to sing. Like, there's some decisions you just should not, or things you shouldn't try without thinking beforehand and how it's going to land. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So be cognizant before you make your choices.
Yeah, no impulse singing on stage.
We know where that gets us.
In trouble.
Yeah,
I find myself there sometimes. Mm-hmm. A lot. But the recovery is the best part.
Yeah. No, you gotta take care of your voice. You do. That's your instrument. That's what you do. So
yeah, and like when people ask, what instruments do you play? My vocal cords, that's my instrument. That's what I also play flute, by the way. And right. Yeah, Charlton, if y'all don't stop, I do play flute.
Okay. David, she really does. She really flute? Does. Yeah.
I'll go upstairs and get mine. We'll play some duets or something.
No, now see, y'all got to earn that, work your whip to hear me,
For years. Okay. for years, that was a running joke that Keanu used to say that she played flute in the band, and eventually she was the drum major of her band.
Yeah.
And for years, I would just go, yeah, right. And then out of nowhere, one day, she sent me a video of her playing scales, and I was like, so she does play. She does play.
See?
And I made sure I looked a hot mess so he wouldn't share it with anybody.
That's
so
right.
It was
deleted. And she said, give me your phone. I want to see where that video is gone. Bye.
Deleted.
Yeah.
No, that's good. No, truly, as a music educator, it's great to see that you're still playing your instrument. You know, you dusting it off, playing a little something.
At home.
Charlton, this one's for you. Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead. Hands up. Yes, sir.
Well, there's something that to bounce off of that about singers. You get a lot of folks that say, you know, ask singers to make sure that they try to learn a little piano or guitar or some chording instrument or something like that. Some of y'all don't know. I'm gonna put Keanu on blast right now, but Keanu was a jazz piano major for a second there.
This fast.
She didn't talk about it a whole lot. I'm putting her on blast. But
really?
Yeah.
I had no clue. Did y'all know that Keanu Parler originally started off as a jazz piano major
and couldn't play nothing right now? Like,
but just to go back, it's really good to have a chording instrument, you know, and learning, you know, scales and things like that. There are times where I'll be off to the side of the stage on a ranky-tanky gig or someplace else, and I'm playing scales, and all of a sudden I hear Keanu singing scales along with me, and you know, if I stop, she'll quit, you know, and I'm like, oh, she's paying attention, you know. So, and I hear, oh, you know, bringing her June Bonner back out, you know. So all of that's important for singers as well, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Sure.
Study. And you know, Tommy Gill used to make me make me learn standards. And that's a big thing too. Now my memory now as well, but we would every week we would work on new standards. Like there's some standards I haven't done with you guys yet, but yeah, that's important too. If as a jazz artist,
you know, I'd say this. Charlton actually taught me that. You know, as a band director, we're taught to talk about timing and tone and technique and intonation. But then Mr. Singleton actually said, oh, "Man, you got to learn the other T." I said, "What's the other T?" He said, "Tunes. You got to learn tunes. You got to learn tunes." Like Charlton teaches me all the time, and you're exactly right, Keanu. Like learning standards every week and just getting the vocabulary and learning. Speaking of studying. This is a shameless plug because I'm so excited about this. We have John Faddis coming in September. Woo! Yep. John Faddis, killing trumpet player, coming in September. And, you know, I'm thinking about John Faddis. So I think about Dizzy Gillespie, and I think about how you've had some experiences in like Chorale and doing some of the music festivals. And you, to me, you're a music historian when it comes to that. Can you talk to us a little bit about maybe the importance of the Charleston jazz scene in the world, and also can you just talk to us a little bit about Jack McCrae, like his impact with this, just so people are aware?
Well, first of all, Charleston plays a very important part in music. That's a blanket statement, and that's a true statement. With regards to jazz, most folks that have done their research, everybody from like Dan Morgenstern, all of these really big, well-known jazz historians, in their research of Charleston, have really started to talk about within the last 20, 25, 30 years about the importance of musicians coming from Charleston, especially from the Jenkins Orphanage, and how those musicians really helped to advance the music artistically. And if you look historically at a lot of the really large names and superstars in the band, whether it's Louis Armstrong or Count Basie's orchestra or Duke Ellington's orchestra, there's always somebody with a connection to Charleston in their organization. I think Karen and Jack, Dr. Karen Chandler and Jack McCrae, in their research, they counted into the teens of how many people from Charleston and the state of South Carolina, for that matter, had been in Duke Ellington's band. And Duke always had this sort of unwritten kind of rule that he was always going to have somebody from New Orleans already and somebody from Charleston in his band at all times. And you know, you could talk about William Cat Anderson, who was his lead trumpet player, born in Greenville, but brought down to the orphanage in Charleston when he was like 3 or 4 years old, something around there. Learned how to play trumpet at the orphanage. Then you've got folks like Rufus Speedy Jones, the great drummer. Wasn't an orphan, but went to the orphanage in order to take that class, that music class that everybody wanted to be a part of. And he played with everybody from Duke Ellington to Count Basie, Freddie Green, same thing. He took lessons at the orphanage, even though he wasn't an orphan. Was arguably the greatest rhythm guitarist of all time. And so those are just a couple of names, you know, or a few names. But Charleston's always been loaded. And you could go back then, you can go up to now with people that are in jazz, with people that are in country music, with people that are in rock music, with people that are in R&B music. It's just littered with Charleston. And that's a fact. That, you know, I can literally find somebody in about every genre of music, or at least really major genre of music that has a connection to Charleston. If they're not from here, they spent significant time of their life here.
Mm-hmm.
Jack McCrae actually was someone that taught me a lot about the Charleston tradition and a lot of the folks that had come from Charleston and what they had done. So I'll always have that love for Jack for sharing all of that information with me and really sort of charging me to make sure that it's always told.
It's beautiful. I love listening to you, Charlton, when you tell stories. I learn that way, and it's just, you have some fascinating facts.
Facts. You know, we deal with facts.
That's right. Well, this last question is for both of you, just to kind of let the community know what things you're doing. And obviously, we should be at home and, you know, doing the safe thing, but, you know, are you gearing it for any projects? Are you actively playing? Do you have an album coming out? Are you working on anything? What's going on? Talk to us.
Charlton's the busy one. You go, Charlton, first. Energize a bunny.
It just so happens I kind of made this goal for myself around the summer of 2019 that I was gonna go crazy and release like 4 different albums. I was gonna do a contemporary jazz album, a traditional jazz album, a gospel album, and a holiday album. I had this thing in my mind that I was just gonna get it done. Before we got to 2020, I actually was able to get into the studio and record 2 of them. And so the contemporary jazz one is on its way to being released. It's already been mixed and mastered, and we've been slowly releasing singles. We released 1 single called Sea Breeze at the end of April. It just so happens that the second single, which is called Sunrise, comes out about 3 hours or so.
Yep.
So it'll be available tomorrow morning, which will be Friday, May 22nd, Sunrise. And then the full album comes out at the end of June. I think that's the 26th, maybe the last Friday of June. and it's called Date Night EP. It's 4 instrumental songs and 4 vocal songs. All of the songs were written by me. There's a couple of instrumentals that are co-written with me and these young wizards that we have in town, named Calvin Baxter too, and Demetrius Doctor and Levante Green. The 3 of them, also Greg Loney. As a matter of fact, the single that's coming out tomorrow, man, Greg is just all over it with the guitar solo. It's just amazing. So that's what I've been working on as of recent.
We're excited to check it out.
That's all he's been working on.
What about you, Kiana? You just kind of, are you resting? You got some projects in the works? You can't tell us what's going on? What about you?
I am resting. At the end of May, I'm working with my friend Carlos Sosa for the Sims Foundation, supports artists with mental health. So we're gonna do a live session. Charlton's gonna be on that with me as well. I've been writing, but my songs come to me in my sleep, so I'm not like.
So it's a good thing you're sleeping.
I know, right? So I'm not actively like sitting up and writing material. Yeah, that's about it. I definitely made it my duty to like hit a hard reset button once we did the self-quarantine thing, and focus on my son and just great clean mental health, all because we travel so much, you're taking in different energies and different bugs and just germs, so yeah, so I'm just enjoying my time off with my kid, and yeah, so that Charlton's definitely the busy one. Yeah, I think I have so that's it for me. I still have some wedding obligations that I have to fill here in Charleston, that's been pushed back due to the pandemic, but that's about it. And then hit the road, ground running at Ranky Tanky. I'm not a great multitasker like Charlton is.
It's okay. Opposites.
That's a lie. That's a lie. Because Kiana could juggle so many different things at one time. As a matter of fact, that's how some of the songs come up. Kiana just keeps blurting stuff out.
That's the gift of ADD, actually.
How do people find you both? This is the last question. This is for real last question. How do people get a hold of you? On Instagram or Facebook or website? What's the best way?
Kiana is the queen of Instagram. She's really good. I wish I could be more aggressive on my social media as much as I try to do, but Kiana is great at that.
How do people follow you, Kiana? What's your name?
Kiana Parlor on Instagram, Kiana Parlor on Facebook, my fan page, and yeah, that's it. KianaParlor.com.
What about you, Charlton?
CharltonSingleton.com. I also have CS Musician on Instagram and on Twitter, and I have actually kind of 3 different pages on Facebook. There's Charlton P. Singleton, which is the artist page, and then there is Charlton Singleton Presents, which is the band that does a lot of the tribute shows to Charleston music.
That's great. We to kind of summarize everything for folks who are just joining in. This is our post-concert Q&A with Kiana Parlor and Charlton Singleton from our Earth, Wind, and Fire show. It was a great show, and it was a great show. Yeah. Well, thank you everybody for joining us, and we look forward to keeping up with Kiana and Charlton. Thank you for all you do to represent Charleston and all of us.
Thank you.
So everybody else,
thank you guys for supporting live
yes
music.
I was going to say the same thing. Thank you for supporting Charleston Jazz. Thank you for supporting Charleston musicians. Have a great night, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.